Welcome to A Shock in the Dark. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm the narrator on a road trip around the United States, following your stories wherever they may take me. And tonight, a special treat. 2 weird stories for the price of 1. First, a glitch in the musical matrix. Then, it's a quick imaginary flight to Portage, Wisconsin, where we're going to hear a very tragic and strange story backed up fully by news reports and a court case and an actual photograph of paranormal activity caught on camera. But first, since I'm here in Fredericksburg, Texas, the site of our first story, here we go with the letter. Hey man, how you doing? I finally decided to get off my butt and write you this damn letter. I'm getting lazy in my old age. My name is Liam. I can't believe it, but next year, I'm going to be 65 years old. Back in the day, I was a little bit famous, locally anyway, around Austin, Texas, that area, at a radio show, and it was pretty popular. Not a talk show or anything, just spinning records. I had the #1 show at night. It's not like it is now. Music isn't chosen by an algorithm. The DJ on the air chose the songs back in the day. You know, they really had a way of reflecting what was happening in the community, like playing Scorpions, Rock You Like a Hurricane, while Hurricane Brett was making landfall. Well, just the right song when the sun is going down can give you real chills. It's like you're a club DJ, but the club is the whole city. I'll get to the point. Back in 1980, I'd been on the air for about 5 years when one of my favorite bands, Steely Dan, released a brand new album, Gaucho. And a friend of mine who worked at the record label, MCA, sent me one of the very first copies of the album. I got it and I listened to it twice, and it was amazing. I fell in love with it. It's still one of the best sounding records out there. So of course, I picked my favorite song from the album, still one of the best stereophonic recordings of all time, and started playing it on my show. That song is called Hey 19. It's about an older guy dating a woman who's 19 and how they have nothing in common. Trust me, this is extremely relevant to the story. The lyrics are, "She thinks I'm crazy, but I'm just growing old. Hey 19, no, we can't dance together. No, we can't talk at all. Please take me along when you slide on down." I had been playing this song every night multiple times when one night, in the middle of the song, the hotline rang. That's the line we use for any emergency communications to the studio. It was the boss of the radio station, and he was livid. "Take that song off the air right now! I mean right now!" And he hung up. I had no idea why, but just before I lifted the needle off the record, in came the chorus, and I heard the lyrics which I had somehow never noticed before. "The Cuervo gold, the fine cocaine, make tonight a wonderful thing." Now, if you know this song, you might be confused right now. And so was I when I was with a friend of mine about 10 years ago and the song came on, but with different lyrics. We got into this huge argument about it, but there it was right there on the radio. "The Cuervo gold, the fine Colombian, make tonight a wonderful thing." That version of the song, "The fine Colombian," is the only version of the song. The version that says "the fine cocaine" does not exist. Well, it doesn't exist in this universe anyway. Every version of this song, every source for the lyrics says, "The Cuervo gold, the fine Colombian." There are 0 Google search results for Cuervo gold, fine cocaine. Now, I understand it's easy to mistake lyrics, and that was many years ago. But you have to understand this. This was a huge deal. Back then, radio stations were extremely careful about lyrics and songs, but especially in the southern United States. Even as late as 1987, when George Michael released the song "I Want Your Sex," and it was a huge #1 hit, Most radio stations in the U.S., and certainly all the radio stations in the South, would only play the edited version of the song where George Michael never mentioned the word sex. Instead, he kept repeating, "I want your love, I want your love." Radio stations' licenses were worth millions of dollars, and if you put material on the air that the government deemed to be explicit or graphic, they could fine the station thousands of dollars, or even take away the station license. I was suspended for 2 weeks because I played a song that talked about cocaine. My boss screamed at me for a full hour about playing a song that mentioned the fine cocaine. When you hear a song a million times, you know those lyrics. You never forget those lyrics, and you never forget it when you almost get fired or you almost cause your boss to lose everything he has. Every time I hear that song, I always sing along with the only lyrics I've ever known from a long time ago. I guess in a parallel universe where I used to live. Keep up the great work, AShock. Thanks for reading my story. I hope it's strange enough for you. It's certainly strange enough for me. The Cuervo Gold, the fine cocaine. It does fit in there, but man, that's got to be a glitch, right? Well, our second story tonight comes to us from Wisconsin, which I would absolutely drive to Wisconsin right now, but there is no way I can get it to work with my itinerary. I'm supposed to be in San Antonio this time next week, and I don't know, this letter's just too good not to read. So I'm just going to do it. Think of this as a Shock in the Dark bonus. Please don't use my real name. Call me Samara. This is long-winded, so edit what you think is best. Feel free to ask me anything I might have left out. I lived in a small town, Portage, Wisconsin, and worked in the best-paying factory there for 14 years. Big news rarely happened in this area until 2004. Portage police were taking Galster, 27, into custody October 22, 2004, after an acquaintance of Galster's told the department Galster was in possession of a safe containing marijuana. He was arrested, and officers asked for his help in securing a pit bull, a Rottweiler, and a puppy Galster had in the house. Galster stayed calm for several moments, but then broke free from officers and let loose the potentially dangerous dogs, according to police reports. In the moments that followed, officers tried to re-secure the scene in Galster's bedroom, including Galster, the dogs, and Galster's girlfriend. However, Galster got a gun and according to police reports and the findings at the inquest hearing. Well, many of us wondered how this guy, Keith Galster, was while handcuffed behind his back. And talk about it at work for weeks and weeks, and then we all carried on with our busy lives, forgetting all about it. I was especially busy looking for a house to rent, which I finally found the perfect little house rented out by an old friend of mine who dabbles in property. When we met to look at it, I jumped at the opportunity. The price was right, and the master bedroom had new carpet. I paid my security deposit and got the keys, and didn't have time to move until the weekend. So after he left me there alone, I decided to take a couple of pictures of everything as an attachment to my addendum to my lease. I didn't have a computer, so after I saw the images in the window of my camera, I was satisfied. My kids and I moved in a week later. They ran around a large backyard, all excited. It was a perfect home for us. As I unpacked, they came running in with a couple of feet of police caution tape. I did wonder how they got it because, as I said before, there really wasn't much of anything going on around here that would negate the use of caution tape. So I just gave it a shrug and continued unpacking until they brought me a woman's wallet. That's when I had the police come. The officer picked it up and put it in the evidence bag and said someone was looking for this and thanked my kids for letting them know. And then he said, "This is the house where Keith Galster lived. It was his girlfriend's wallet. I didn't care that somebody died in the house. I rented it because in that area, all of the houses are hundreds of years old, and I'm sure there were deaths in all of them. I was a bit surprised that after a short amount of time, I hadn't even thought about the possibility I could be renting the house this happened in. Houses for rent were a rare find around there. I did for a minute wonder how I got so lucky to find one, but was too busy to speculate about it. About a year later, somebody at my work called me a lifer, meaning I'd worked there my entire adult life and would retire there like the older ladies I worked with. I took a hard look at my life and decided to go to college. With my student loans, I finally got a laptop computer and a printer. One of the first things I did was plug my camera into the computer to upload my photos. Just as a friend of mine, who was a city police officer but not one of the responding officers to the incident, was walking in to drop off my son from a visit at his house, I was scrolling through the pictures and came across my addendum pictures, the pictures of the house. We both stopped and stared at my computer when this one picture came up. In the mirror, to the right, is the outline of a man's face, a shadow figure. My friend got excited and told me it looks exactly like Keith Galster. He went on to say he had the same facial hair and the tuft of hair on his head. He said it looks like he's handcuffed and leaning forward. The silhouette looked exactly like Keith. I can't find a picture of Keith to verify this. He asked me to print him a copy, so I did. He later told me he took it to work and put it on the police chief's desk, and it freaked him all out so much that nobody would even touch the picture. He told me they asked him to remove it. Later on, Keith's family did sue. The city of Portage then decided to settle for $950,000. The FBI was involved and once came to get pictures of the scene, even though it was completely remodeled. They were also very interested in my picture, so I emailed them a copy. Other than that, nothing really happened here. It was a great home for me and my little kids. My landlord asked me not to tell anybody the story or show anybody this picture, so I only told my closest, tight-lipped friends. Until now, I'm sharing it with you, A Shock in the Dark. I imagine that landlord sold the home by now anyway. Feel free to use the picture. Samara. And the Shock in the Dark tour of the United States continues wherever your letters send us on our journey. Remember, if you want to share your paranormal story, it's got to be true. Send it to AShockInTheDark@gmail.com. To support this channel and keep me alive, please do at least one of the following. Subscribe, make a comment below, press the thumbs up button. In the meantime, this is the narrator saying good night, wherever and whoever you are.